Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I have a voice radio. So today, we're going to be looking at the Mega Blastoise and Mega Charizard X Battle Arena decks. PokeBeach.com have gone and gotten pictures of the front and the back of these decks, along with the exclusive promos. I'm a little bit excited. I thought you might be a little bit excited too, so I thought it was only fair we sat and had a little bit of a look at what these decks have and why you should be a little bit excited. Now, to be fair, some of the cards in here have rotated out of the standard format, which means you'll basically have to be rolling in expanded for some of these, but very much like the theme decks we looked at lately, these are good. These have good competitive cards in, and if you buy both of these decks, you'll actually end up with a play set of quite a lot of very competitive cards. For newer players that don't have that bank of staples from which to draw, it's really quite good, although it is focusing on some slightly older cards, so there are some newer cards. Things like at the moment, every deck is going to really want 4 Cynthia. And there aren't Cynthia in here. They are largely older cards. They tend to have kind of Lysander rather than a Guzma, which kind of sucks, admittedly. But certainly in Expanded, these are good cards, and there's a bunch of them that are still in the format, and that is very, very cool indeed. The other thing I must warn you about before we get rolling here, these, we have the back of them. We know what the back of them look like, but we don't know which specific cards they are. Some of these, there are more than one version of a particular Pokemon from which they could have selected, so do please bear in mind. I'll be giving you my best opinion of these, but I can't say for absolute certain. So we'll start off with the Blastoise deck then, because Blastoise is better than Charizard. Come at me, bro. And I mean, we have this image here that shows which Blastoise and which Mega Blastoise you actually end up getting, which is cool. So they are in fact the XY Blastoise and Mega Blastoise rather than the Generations ones, which is kind of cool, I suppose. Or not, it doesn't really matter. Neither of them are particularly great. I do like Rapid Spin on the Blastoise EX, 30 damage for 2 energy and flick to the bench. And then on the Mega Blastoise here, you've got Hydro Bombard, 120 damage, plus 30 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Very powerful attack, but it is also for free damage. Now, one point that we do have to make here, there's no Spirit Link. Blastoise did get a Spirit Link later on as we got towards Generations and Evolutions and things of that nature, but that's not in this deck here. There is no Blastoise Spirit Link, which means if you're playing with these decks, you are going to have to be ending your turn when you Mega Evolve. It also means if you want to build this into a proper expanded deck, you'll need to go get some Spirit Links fairly sharpish. We can also see that there is an exclusive Delinquent in the Mega Blastoise deck, and PokeBeach have gone and got a clear image of this, and honestly, it's a Delinquent like washing a Puccina. It's a bit weird, the artwork, if I'm perfectly honest with you, but if you play Delinquent, and a lot of people still do in the expanded format, you've now got an alternate artwork. I love that they're putting alternate artworks in these. Another thing that is worth pointing out, 8 of the water energy in this deck are actually foil water energy, which is really quite cool. So if we have a look through the deck here, there is Empoleon, the good Empoleon, the one that we've just got in Ultra Prism. It's unlikely to be because these cards aren't from the Sun and Moon set. My best guess is that it's the Breakthrough Empoleon that means you do a bit of extra damage for your basic Pokemon, which of course would work for Blastoise EX. Yay! We also see that there is an Octillery here. Octillery's really good. Again, it's expanded only. Most of these cards have rotated out. But this Octillery's really, really cool. It has been kind of defining the metagame for a little while now. And you got a 2-2 line in here, which is really just over the top good. And there are a couple of Execute in this deck, which I'm hoping are the Execute from Roaring Skies. They should be, I believe. Which have got the amazing Propagate ability, allowing you to just put them straight into your hand. So if you want to play something like an Ultra Ball, which is in this deck, you can do so without having to constantly discard cards from your hand. And it really is the trainers that makes this deck so gosh darn good here. So we've got a copy of Bridget, which for, well, right up until rotation was the turn one play for so many people. We've got that copy of Delinquent we mentioned. We've got an Evo Soda there, which is really good for helping to evolve your Pokemon. We've got a Float Stone, which is one of the best tools in the game, just giving one of your Pokemon free retreats. There's a Level Ball there that helps you to search out low-level Pokemon, low HP Pokemon. We've got a Lysander. Okay, it's not Guzma, but it still is a gusting effect, and it's pretty gosh darn good. We've got a Max Elixir to accelerate energy to basics, a Mega Turbo to accelerate energy to Mega Pokemon. We've got a Muscle Band, which is a tool that sees a lot of play for doing a little bit of extra damage. We've got a couple copies of N, which is one of the very, very best supporters in the expanded format. We got a couple copies of Professor Sycamore, which again is another absolute staple in expanded. Copy of Professor's Letter, just to help you to search out some of the energy here. We've got a Rare Candy, 2 Rare Candy in fact, which is an absolute essential in any Stage 2 deck, even post-rotation. We've got Rough Seas, which is great for healing as a stadium card. Both Shauna and Skylar, which are very good, useful supporter cards, both of which just happen to begin with S. We also see a Super Rod, which is really good for recovery here. We see a couple of Ultra Ball, which again, even in Standard, is amazing at the moment. A couple of Versus Seeker, which it's a 4 of in every expanded deck. It's brilliant. And then we even see a couple of Splash Energy here, which is really, really good for water decks. Again, in expanded, your Pokemon gets knocked out and you get to put them back into your hand. Yes, most of these cards have rotated out, but firstly, they're great in expanded, and secondly, not all of them have. If we flick to the Charizard deck here, we can see that it is the Flash Fire Charizard and Mega Charizard. And actually, to be fair here, there were a couple of different Mega Charizards in Flash Fire. This is a Dragon one. It can do 300. Discard the top 5 cards of your deck. People thought it was going to be quite good. It never quite worked. The Charizard EX did actually see quite a bit of play for a while, just because it could do decent damage for free energy. And then there is an exclusive print of Professor's Letter, which, again, if you're in the expanded format and you're playing it, maybe you prefer this print of it. As for the other Pokemon, we do have a couple of Emboar here, which makes me very happy because I love Emboar. And a couple of Delphox here, which make me very happy because I love Delphox. Although, to be honest here, I don't know if it's the Delphox from X and Y or the Delphox from Fates Collide. In a deck like this, the one from X and Y would be better because it gives you that little bit of draw power. We do see a Zoroark here. Don't get too excited, it's almost certainly the one from Breakthrough. But that's still a really good Zoroark that saw quite a lot of play here. Again, the Pokemon line isn't amazing here. I mean, certainly the Blastoise one for Octillery is awesome, but then we see a lot of the same supporter and trainer cards. We see a copy of Bridget, which is great, copy of Delinquent, copy of Evo Soda, copy of Floatstone. We see a copy of Fisherman here, which is really good for recovering energy, and we see a copy of Karen, which is weird, right? Because Karen has only really been released in these promo decks like this. It's never been in a set itself. So again, even though it's rotated out, the fact that we've got another, it's only the 3rd release of Karen, I believe. One was the full art version in the X and Y, and one was in the Battle Arena decks previously. This is really quite cool. We see Lysander, we see N. We see Pokemon Communication here, which is an item card that saw a lot of play back in the Heart Gold Soul Silver era. Much less play after that, but still a nice little item card to try and help you to, get the right Pokemon at the right time. We see Professor's Letter, we see Rare Candy, we see Skylar, we see Scorched Earth, which is a really good stadium, lets you discard a card from your hand and then draw 2, a fire energy from your hand, and then draw 2. We've got Super Energy Retrieval, which is just really good for getting your energy back, as the name might suggest, to be perfectly honest with you. We see Ultra Ball, we see Versus Seeker, and then we see Weakness Policy, a nice little tool that takes away your weakness. These decks are awesome, because if you know kids that want Pokemon presents, great news, you can have these and they get an EX and a Mega EX. And they've got foil energy in, if you're into that. And they've got an exclusive art of a particular trainer card, which is pretty cool. And if you're playing in the expanded format, these really are stacked with great trainers. Now, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of you that play a lot, and so you might not need these. I certainly don't. I've got play sets of all of these. But if you're a newer player or a casual player, these have a lot of really good trainers in. I personally am proud of the Pokemon Company for making these products. I think they're awesome. And certainly if you're looking for presents for kids in the near future, you could do a lot worse than these. So thank you very much to Pokebeat for sharing them. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it is up to you guys. I want to know what you think of these. Do you think they're really good? Do you want to play them? Are you going to run around and buy these? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but do remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.